Hi again, I didn't see you there. My name is Oscar again. Apologies. Today, we're in the long-term storage area, where everything that I have not yet gone through, and soon will determine whether or not it's going to be kept, or donated to another institution, or somewhere in between, is determined to be of value or not. So, you may be asking, what is film? Is film VHS? No, it is not. Different thing. But for the last century, and a little bit more, there have been multiple different types of stock, different sizes and shapes. There are small ones, like this, 8mm, and there are big ones like this, 70mm. Damn, I'm good at catching. And it comes in many shapes and sizes. There's small shapes like this 8mm. But what does Vinegar Syndrome keep? And what, if you find it, should you donate to another institution? So today, we're going to do a little bit of a foray into what's in the archive and what shouldn't be. Film can be classified into two major categories: safety film and that which came before, nitrate film, which is highly flammable and caused many fires in vaults and cinemas across the country, which now we all know about. For instance, check out this reel of nitrate. Well, it's not that flammable. But it's going to MoMA. When you find something like this, and you're a smaller institution, it means that you need to find another institution which is more suited for this actual type of film. That being said, whenever they find something, they also do the same with us, and give us lots and lots of porn, which is good. Very good. (1895). We have nitrocellulose, which is a cellulose which has been nitrated. Essentially, this is made of the same material as gun cotton, which is cellulose, which has undergone a similar process. What does that mean? I have no fucking clue. I'm not a chemist. It's pretty strong in comparison to other materials, which makes it perfect for running through a projector. What makes it not perfect for running through a projector is the fact that it's god fucking dangerous. It can explode and burn you, obviously. And essentially what you want to look for, if you ever find some film and think, oh, I don't want to burn my house down, what you have to do is use your nose. Dave, do you think I could borrow your shoes? If you smell nitrate, either Dave's somewhere nearby stinking up the place with his disgusting foot hygiene, or you may have nitrate. 1910, we have the first attempt at making a safety film stock, or one of the first. They created a new form of base, which is called diacetate. So this is called 28mm. This is the oldest thing in our film archive in comparison to classic 35mm. It's a tiny bit thinner. It's 28mm. Pretty self-explanatory. So this trailed off near the end of the First World War and is not flammable. So it made it a very good gauge for amateur film collectors. There are a lot of things which only exist today because they were copied onto 28mm film. You'll know that you have 28mm if once again, you use your nose. Right. Well, Dave has an enormous problem with moths, so he uses mothballs. Essentially, they release camphor to keep out types of pests which could eat away at the lining and the actual fibers of the coat inside. So, if you find a piece of film, which is 16mm or a smaller gauge, generally speaking, you're probably going to have diacetate. Kodak develops a new stock to replace diacetate and to deal with the overwhelming epidemic of places meant to house and show film from catching on fire. It should have been done earlier, but 1951 is when they decided to really put a stop to it. What you smell is essentially the acetic acid being thrown off of the reels, and it smells a lot like vinegar. Salt and vinegar chips, commonly found in his left-hand pocket. Don't know why, but I learned this last week and wanted to integrate this into the video. This one has not been taped down on the outside, so that's caused a curling on the outer edges. And you can even see there's a crystalline formation on the actual reel itself. popping off. That's the plasticizer, which keeps it from becoming a hard plastic, leaching out over time. You can also find what we have here, which is called, fuck me in the ass,
Yes.
what is it called when a film print kind of starts looking like a spider web?
Spoking.
Spoken! Fuck yes. Thank you, that's it. Bye. Thank you, bye-bye. For this reel, we have spoking. This is a big issue for scanning because when you actually have to deal with it, you're supposed to have an even wind throughout the entire process. Next, we have the final example of a film base. This is polyester film, or polyethylene terephthalate. The correction's gonna be on the screen. This is essentially the same type of plastic that's used for almost every type of type 1 recyclable plastic. The actual type of cans that we use in the polypropylene are type 5 plastic. Fun fact that is fun to no one but me. So, in essence, this type of film can be recycled, which is not gonna happen with this one, because this is New York Ninja, which tours around the country every once in a while. So let's actually talk about the layers of film. Well, this is a piece of unexposed negative film. It doesn't have an image on it yet, but once it's exposed to light in the correct way, it will form an invisible latent image, which after processing will show up like this. This is a piece of 35mm negative film, which has a 3 on it, my favorite number. After that, you'd print out to a print. So here is a piece of print with the same 3 on it. And this is how films were originally shown. We preserve from the negative, in best case scenario, if the negative still exists. And just like there are 3 all over these pieces of film, there are 3 main gelatin layers which compose this image. First, cyan. Okay, aim towards my chest. This cyan layer goes directly onto the base, and on top of this cyan layer is the magenta layer. So this magenta layer right above that, and then third, the top layer is the yellow layer. This yellow layer is basically the most important one. It's the one that's visible and captures the it's so messy. It's like impossible to handle Jell-O. I don't want to do the Jell-O shit anymore. Let's do. Moving forward from those negative layers, which, as we've already discussed, are cyan, magenta, and yellow. Next, we have the print layers, which are yellow, cyan, and magenta on top. Fuck. I said no fucking Jell-O. I've got Jell-O in my ear. So what have we learned today? I'll close the door in a second. Film is very complicated, it's very interesting, it's been around for a while, and there's negative, and there's positive, and there's nitrate, and there's safety, 16 and 35, and all of the way in between. So do I have a conclusion written out for this ending part? No. Film is a fascinating and interesting world. Film is a fascinating and interesting world. Emulsion layer and a base layer. Emulsion layer and a base layer. Safety or nitrate depending on the year. Gelatin, emulsion. Fuck. 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 Working together to create a beautiful image. So, next time you think about the film you're watching, think something differently. And don't forget, goodbye.